So I'm Milica Mihaljevic from the Institute of Croatian Language and Linguistics, and this is the presentation I have prepared together with my colleagues Lana Hudacek and Christian Lewis, who are also here with me on the same computer. The title of our presentation is Corona-Related Neologisms, a Challenge for Croatian Standardology and Lexicography. This presentation was compiled within our research project, Croatian Web Dictionary Mrežnik. The introduction is almost the same as in all other languages because we have heard almost similar things for all languages. So coronavirus epidemic has changed the way we live in many ways, and it has also changed the way we speak. When we talk about the influence of coronavirus on languages, we can say that it influenced many or maybe all languages, but English has a special role in this because all other languages take words from English. So in all other languages, and especially in Croatian, because my focus is on Croatian, is that these words are either English loan words or loan translations from English. And here I will only mention 3 word formation types in English because they are very interesting if you compare them to Croatian. First are compounds, and there are very many compounds with the first element corona. In English, they are spelled in different ways. Here I have written them as 2 words. For example, corona speak, corona cushion, corona haircut, corona crew, corona boyfriend. And in Croatian, some of these words are translated. For example, corona cushion is translated into corona spek, and corona spek is a jargon word, and corona haircut is translated as corona freeze. All these other words listed here don't have a special term in Croatian or a special word in Croatian. What's important, what you can see here is that in Croatian they are spelled as one word and with a K. And then another word formation type in English are blends. For example, coronials, corona session, covidiot. And in Croatian, some of these blends are taken over. For example, covidiot, we have seen that in many other languages, we also have covidiot. In Croatian, it's spelled with a K. And blending is not a word formation type typical for Croatian. So for English blends, we either have Croatian terms that are not blends, that are compounds or 2-word terms, or we take over English blends. And another interesting type are abbreviations. So in English, there are very many corona-related abbreviations. What happens with them in Croatian? There are 2 things that can happen. One thing is that in Croatian, we take over the English abbreviation. We usually even pronounce it as in English, for example, PCR. So in Croatian, if we would read it Croatian way, it would be PCR, but it never appears. We always say only PCR as in English. And COVID-19, so 19 is translated, but COVID is pronounced as in English. Work from home, WFH, is never said WFH in Croatian, and it's never said in Croatian. So in Croatian, we always say rad od kuće. ROK is never used in Croatian. So for abbreviation, we either take English abbreviations or we have a full term in Croatian. Another thing that is interesting, if we compare this in English and the situation in Croatian, is corpora. Why are corpora in the focus of our attention? Because we are lexicographers, we work with corpora all the time, and corpora are very important. In English, general English corpora, here is an example from an N10-10-20 corpus. They normally incorporate corona-related terms as they appear, so we can find COVID-19 in the corpus. And of course, after that, it's not easy, but much easier to make an English dictionary. In Croatian, the situation is quite different, as I will show you in a few moments. So our focus is on corona-related neologisms in Croatian. From the beginning of the pandemic, many new words appeared. The moment they started appearing in Croatian, we started recording them, collecting them, and compiling the glossary of coronavirus. It is a very simple glossary consisting of an entry, definition, and sometimes synonyms. The approach in the glossary of coronavirus is descriptive, so we record basically anything that appears in the media, in the social media, in the government releases, and so on. What happened the moment the glossary of coronavirus was published? We had many questions from our users saying, well, is it correct to write this term this way or this way? Is it better to use this term or this term? And we sort of figured out that in Croatian, a normative analysis would be very important. This is the website of the glossary of coronavirus. Here you see the address, and here are the neologisms recorded in the glossary of coronavirus. So these neologisms, even if you don't know Croatian, you can guess. Corona bolnica is corona hospital, coronaphobia is coronaphobia, corona free, you can guess, corona humor is corona humor, and so on. So many of these words are very similar to English. When we started analyzing these corona-related terms, we saw that we could divide them according to different criteria. Some of them actually belong to the standard language, and some others are only used as jargon words. Some of them are new words, new phrases, or new terms, but many of them are not actually new, but they're new in the general language. So many medical terms like epidemiologist, of course, still existed in Croatian medical terminology, but an average user of Croatian never used them. But now we could hear them every day on the news, on the media, and so on. So these terms are also recorded in our glossary of coronavirus. And here are some examples of language advice. So there were many questions from language users, but not just general users. There were many questions from the journalists who were writing articles and didn't know how to spell something. For example, if we have this word post-COVID, like post-COVID syndrome. COVID was spelled in 4 different ways, and then between post and COVID, we had a hyphen, or we didn't have a hyphen, or it was written as one word. And in the genitive case, there is another problem again. Would we add a hyphen or so? There are like 10 ways of spelling post-COVID in the genitive in Croatian. That's why we started publishing language advice on the internet. This is an example from this language advice site where we give advice on how to spell coronavirus. So that would be coronavirus. So it was spelled at the beginning. It was spelled with C and with K and with a capital letter and small letter and one word or two words or with a hyphen. And here, this small article says that we should spell it as one word. Another question was how to read Sputnik or Sputnik, the name of the vaccination, Russian vaccine. So in Croatian, it should be read Sputnik, and here is the explanation for this approach. This is another website. It's called Bolje HR, or Better in Croatian. This site gives Croatian terms for for Anglicisms used in Croatian. For example, we have this Anglicism lockdown, and it should be changed by zatvaranje in Croatian or potpuno zatvaranje. On this, we give just suggestions. So you don't have to follow the suggestion, but suggestions are for those who need them. Drive-in, like drive-in testing, was used, it was suggested that it would be changed by provoznik. We also had many of these analyses were published in a special issue of this magazine, Hrvatski jezik, where we have, here are the articles. So we analyzed corona-related terminology from different viewpoints, like metaphors connected with Croatia, with coronavirus, names of the people fighting the epidemic in Croatia, e-learning during the pandemic, etymology of words connected with coronavirus, and so on. And in the end, I'll say something about Croatian Web Dictionary Mrežnik. So the aims of the project are to produce an online, free, corpus-based, monolingual, hypertext, searchable, normative dictionary that would be the meeting point of language resources of the Institute of Croatian Language and Linguistics. This is the web page of our dictionary. It is corpus-based, so it is based on these two corpora. However, when we try to find, for example, COVID-19 in the Croatian general corpus, we couldn't find anything. That was our problem as lexicographers. Later on, a specialized, not a general, but a specialized corpus of coronavirus, it's a small corpus, was composed by our colleagues Ana Ostroškijanić and Kristina Štrkalj-Despot. Data from this corpus were incorporated in Mrežnik. So this is, for example, one entry in Mrežnik. It's entry COVID-19. You can see the entry, and you can see many sub-entries like COVID ambulance, COVID hospital, COVID infection, COVID ward, COVID positive, and so on. This is an entry SARS-CoV-2. It is marked as a medical term. It has a definition, and it is connected to the same coronavirus, which has two meanings. This is the first meaning of this synonym. And this is how we analyze coronavirus. So you can see it has two meanings. It is connected by a link to the glossary of coronavirus. In Mrežnik, we also give normative and pragmatic information. This normative and pragmatic information is based on the questions asked by the language users. And some of this information is the same as in language advice. This I have shown you before. So you see the first advice is how to spell coronavirus. And the second, more pragmatic advice is saying that you shouldn't write you shouldn't say he's sick with coronavirus, but he is infected by coronavirus, because it's not, at least in Croatian, the name of an illness, but the name of a virus. And to conclude, in the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic, the beginning of COVID-19 pandemic in Croatia is associated with the appearance of many new words, of additional meanings of the existing words. For example, the word balloon, so in English balloon, has a new meaning as in English, actually. And then Croatian users, and especially journalists, were confused by this situation and asked linguists from the Institute for Language Advice. Corona-related terminology is unfortunately not yet included in general Croatian corpora, but we hope it will be included soon. And there is this small corona-related corpus. Work on corona-related terminology in Croatia is, of course, work in progress as new words appear on the daily basis. Here are the references. Thank you for your attention, and we would be very happy to answer any questions now or later.